Man gets into stranger's truck, recognizes father from ID. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. Before eventually removing the covers off him, he lay awake and looked to be looking at the ceiling for hours. Because all the memories were still fresh in his mind, he was unable to fall asleep. It was 1 a.m, chilly and breezy, with the first heavy raindrops falling from the menacing clouds. Checking in on the family properties was his typical practice, but tonight was a little unusual. He made the spontaneous decision to use his late father's GMC pickup vehicle to look at rental homes and empty lots in the areas of Brownsville, Olmito, and Rancho Viejo. He flipped down the visor to see his father's laminated picture, which was encased in one of the several prayer cards the funeral home had given him. "Hi, Dad," I said as I got his truck going. "Tonight, I'm going for a drive in your truck. I truly do miss you. It's my dad's vehicle that I adore. Everything about it feels and smells like him when I go in, and everything, even some of his personal belongings and old equipment, is still stored, just as he left it." J.H. Cavazos witnessed something that made him sigh with resignation as he was driving about town in his dad's truck. When he arrived at the empty lot, one of his family's many, he noticed a mound of rubbish that someone had chosen to leave there. When he noticed a movement near the side of the property, he knelt down and started to pick it up. A man's shadow appeared, moving slowly in his direction. A guy was slowly making his way across the street on the sidewalk, his clothing soiled, damp, and torn. Standing in the mild rain, it was quite gloomy. He could hear nothing but the constant roaring of the wind. The man was now crossing the street and coming toward him, but he didn't notice. He simply continued to remove rubbish from the mound, tossing handfuls into the pickup's rear. The guy, who was being followed by the darkness, came to a stop some distance away and asked Cavazos if he could come closer and if he needed any help picking up the rubbish. Cavazos raised a torch so he could see more of the man who was coming toward him. Though Cavazos claimed he was almost finished, he inched closer, his face obscured under a thick beard dot. The man called out in Spanish, "Sorry, I don't need or want anything from you, sir," in an attempt to reassure Cavazos that he was only trying to assist. "All I want to do is assist you." Inquisitive, Cavazos thanked him for his assistance and struck up a conversation, presuming the stranger was not dangerous. The man had really been camping outside a church every night because he was homeless. Together they labored, piling piles of rubbish into the truck's bed until the man dug into one of his soiled pockets and took out a little packet. It was early morning, and the close darkness prevented Cavazos from seeing what it was. The homeless man extended the small baggie containing a string of rosary prayer beads and a few crumbled, stale biscuits to the man. That was all it contained. After working for 5 more minutes, the men managed to fit every bit of trash into the back of the pickup truck. Cavazos thanked him for his assistance, got into his car, and watched the stranger drive off. He didn't know what had transpired until then. Cavazos recalls, "I realized that I had not so much as bothered to ask him if he was thirsty or hungry. It was time to go get some dinner, so he pulled the car up next to the man and instructed him to get in. The homeless guy named Oscar appeared to be on the verge of starvation, but when he circled the pickup and leaped into the back, Cavazos was shocked. What was this man up to? Cavazos leaped from the chauffeur's chair. His father's laminated picture was ripped from the automobile by a strong wind gust. He was so focused on telling Oscar that he couldn't sit in the truck bed that he didn't even see that it blew directly into a puddle in the gutter. The following event would mark a sea change in the lives of both men. Cavazos never even made it to Oscar before he ran off down the street. Observing the other man move so fast and so abruptly, only to stop a few feet away, gave him a sudden feeling of unease. The man bent over and dug in the water, pulling up a photo that Cavazos knew right away was his father's. Then something unexpected took place. Oscar sagged his shoulders and began to shake quietly while he cried. What had occurred moments ago? Cavazos was in complete disbelief until the man spoke in a trembling voice. "Sir, I know this man. Your father is this man in this photo. Your father and mother are people I've met." He went on. "Aren't they the ones that operated a pharmacy and clinic with a doctor?" As if to corroborate it. The thought of his father being able to move this stranger to tears upon hearing of his death was inconceivable. Cavazos acknowledged that he was right. "My parents owned Price Village Pharmacy on Price Road for over 25 years, he said to Oscar. "How do you know my parents?" he inquired, posing a follow-up query. A straightforward query prompted a moving account from over 10 years ago. Oscar had recently met J.H. Johnny Sr., who had arrived in the nation in dire need of employment in order to pay for medication for his infant daughter. She was quite sick when she was born in Mexico, and in addition to him not having the money to buy the medication, it was not accessible there. "I was unaware that he had died. Your folks are just wonderful people." Amazingly, Oscar had swum across the river in desperation to find work and to provide his little child the medicine she so needed. He went on, "Sir, your father and mother both gave my wife and me the medicine my sick baby girl sorely needed. Their incredible generosity and goodwill stayed with us forever. My spouse and I used to frequently discuss how we intended to pay them back eventually. And I cry because I know now that your father is dead and I can never repay him." After a moment of astonished silence, Cavazos attempted to reassure the man. "My father would not accept money in exchange for what he gave you if he were still living. It is the view of both my parents that giving without expecting anything in return is the only way to properly offer." After returning to the car, the two men went to grab some food, with Cavazos adamant that Oscar sit next to him. Oscar was again left speechless when Cavazos asked him what he would want to have as they went to the closest Whataburger drive-thru. With the contents of his pocket in his palm, he said, "I can't order much because this is all I have." It displayed another set of rosary beads along with 16 cents. Cavazos informed him, "You've already paid tonight as far as I'm concerned. You assisted me in clearing up another person's rubbish from my parents' property." Cavazos grinned and peered through the glass. "What a size it! A massive double meat and double cheese all the way. Order me an extra-large Coke and a combination with extra everything on it," he said. Oscar could scarcely restrain himself when he paid the money. He was really, really hungry. So he requested nicely and joyfully whether he might start eating in the truck before being dropped home. Other than, of course, yes, what more could Cavazos say? Even though Oscar was eager to begin eating, he took his time with the unopened food bag. Using both hands, he lifted it until it nearly touched the truck's visor. Then, with his eyes closed, he started to express gratitude for the food he was going to consume. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.